from guys like Mosby and Cox on the practice field to make you think they can step up if given a heavy workload since you don't have Preston anymore?
Speed, athleticism. I think they're two really good young players that have showed up in practice, and it's interesting when you know, and you guys have been out there for a little bit, but when you finish, you know, and you're done with your looks and you go over and you watch our offense versus our show team and you focus in on some guys and they start jumping out every single day, and if our offense is having a tough time blocking certain guys, or you know, you get a guy who's all of a sudden making a ton of plays on the ball, you start really watching them. And I think both of those guys really started to jump out. I think there was a string of 2 practices where, you know, Cox, I just thought he looked like he was ready to go. And, you know, it's really cool to see when guys earn their opportunity. And I think he's a really good example of that. And I am really, really excited for him. Along with Mosby. And Mosby obviously got the playing time a little bit against Detroit, so we're trying to get him going, and now he'll have a bigger role. But for a guy like Cox to get his time now and to do it the right way in practice and not say anything and just keep working, I'm really excited for him. So we'll see what he can do.
Just Jair's battled a couple different things during the year, but when he's played, what do you think? How do you think he's done?
I think he's done a really good job. I thought he got better and better as he got going, and he just changes a lot of things that we can do. You know, some people don't even want to throw to his side, which, you know, helps out a lot, and he's obviously able to make plays on the ball. There's always the threat of him taking it away. So he's, you know, I think he's one of the best, and, you know, hopefully we'll see that again really soon.
Lucas Van Ness had a slow start to his rookie season a year ago, but he came on really strong late. How do you unlock what you saw on film from him last year? Where do you think he is right now?
Well, I think you see some of that this year, right? I think he's had flashes. Certainly in the run game, I think he's playing really well. I mean, we're playing pretty good run defense overall, and he's a huge part of that. And then there's moments when he's had some, you know, nice rushes and good plays in the pass game. It's just going to be about being consistent and keep working at it, which he's done.
Jeff, I'm sorry to ask this.
That's all right. I see the hesitation. What do you?
So going into the Detroit game, I talked to like 12 defensive guys, and they all talked about how bought in they are and how much they appreciate you listening to them. And so then when I see Preston Smith say that he requested a trade and he didn't feel like he fit the system, that came as a surprise to me. Did that come as a surprise to you? And when you look at that, you know, is it a tough transition for some guys from 3-4 to 4-3? Because I always thought it was the opposite way that was the really hard transition.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak of what happened behind closed doors, requesting a trade, not liking the system. I have a great relationship with Preston. I talked to him, you know, after immediately, and you know, I was happy to see him move on to a good place with a coach who I really respect. But that's a question for Preston. No, we had great conversations here, and I thought he did a really nice job. I think he's got a great opportunity now where he is, and that's really all I got for you. The guys here have been awesome, you know, and I'm looking forward to, you know, coaching some of these young guys and seeing where we can go with the vets that are on the team right now.
What does their coordinator change do for you, if anything, as far as your prep goes?
Yeah, it's hard, right? You find out Tuesday morning, and, you know, they got Tuesday, Wednesday, or they really have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to practice, and there's not like we've seen his tape with this personnel group. So you can take a look at stuff that he's done in the past when he's called plays. Does it change some tendencies? You know, you study during a bye week, you study a bunch of the Bears' tendencies, and you get these thoughts based on what they've called, when they've called them, down and distance, you know, certain tendencies on formations, and a lot of that's kind of going to be thrown out now. You know, it's a different mind calling the game. Could it be the same plays, the same players, a lot of the same scheme, which I'm sure it'll have some wrinkles? A lot of the tendencies now, you're going to just have to get a feel throughout the game, right? Different guy calling the plays. At the end of the day, we're going to play our defense, you know, and we had a bye week too, so I think you'll start to see us evolve as we have, and there'll be some creative things that come out from us as well, and, you know, we'll go play our game.
Did you anticipate that the simulated pressures, simulated fronts that you've shown would be something that this defense would grow into as the season went along, or is that been more of a byproduct of trying to get some pass rush as the defensive line's adjusted to this 4-3?
Well, we had him in training camp. And then when you see how you have success with some and, you know, how you can attack some people, you know, we haven't used him in all the games. There's some games where we like man pressure. There's some games where we've rushed 4. There's some game where we brought 0 pressure. So depending on who we've played and if we think we can have success, yeah, we like them a lot. But we started off in training camp with some, and we've evolved. But we've evolved in a lot of things. If you watch us from the first game of the season until now, you know, you're going to see a difference. You're going to see some things that are the same, the foundation of what we do. And then you're going to see some new pressures each week. But I think it's important to keep building off of what you do every week so you don't stay stale, right? I don't want a team to turn on and say that's the pressure we're going to get because they run that pressure every single week. It's what does it look like and how can we change it? How can we make it better? How can we make it look the same to them, but all of a sudden it's different, right? So we need to be creative, and those are just one of the things that we've had some success with lately. But like I said, with the bye week, I think you're going to see some other stuff now too, which I'm excited to bring out.
You've had success, obviously, scheming up pressure. How important is it ultimately to be able to get the front 4 to get more pressure on the quarterback over the course of the season?
Yeah, but what you got to understand is when we simulate pressure, we still have 3 D linemen in the rush. And you would say our simulated pressures are creating pressures and sacks right now, right? Well, there's 3 D linemen still rushing. So 3 out of the 4 guys are our D linemen who are generating pressures. So, I mean, you keep hearing these terms, 4-man rush. Well, we are rushing 4. It's just 3 of them are D linemen. 1 of them is somebody in the back end on their feet. But the 3 other guys who are creating pressure are D linemen. It's just like when I blitz 5, 4 of the guys are D linemen. Those are the ones generating pressures, right? So you got to look at it and say, you know, we're not getting any pressure from our front 4. We're not getting pressure from our front 4. But these magical simulated blitzes, we're rushing 4. 3 of them are still our D linemen, and they're doing a really good job, whether they're in games, whether they're picking people, whether we're running loops, whether we're running TE games. I mean, those are still the majority of our D line causing the pressure on those. So I don't want to take credit for scheming stuff up. I want to give credit to the players for executing the call.
I guess what I mean, though, is when you rush 4 and it's just your 4 defensive linemen, there's no simulated pressure. Being able to get pressure that way as opposed to having it come from different angles and different scheme, is that important just to be able to run those 4 guys and get after the quarterback? Or do you think you get by with what you're doing right now?
No, you got to be able to generate pressure. Like I think it was one of the first 3rd downs against the Lions when we had the sack. That was just a 4-man rush. That was no pressure. We were playing man with a low hole guy who cut the route. He held the ball, and Mosby and Rashawn collapsed the pocket. We had a sack, so that was a 4-man pressure. So, yeah, you have to be able to do both. I mean, if you look at us on 3rd down, we've had success lately. It's been a mixture. It hasn't just been the simulated pressures. We've been rushing 4 in there too. But it is important to be able to do all of that. And I think you're going to just see those guys get better and better and better. I mean, I'm excited for this week to see what they can do.
Go ahead,
we got both. Go. Who's first?
Age before beauty. Is it fair to assume, you know, the Bears want to get Caleb Williams going and playing well? Is it fair to assume that they're going to try to get him easy completions in the beginning and you know, try to get him going in that way? And how does that affect what you do?
I mean, that's a better question for them than it is for me. I mean, I could sit here and speculate what they're going to do, just like you. Do they run more quick game? Do they run more screens? Do they just check the ball down? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we got to go out and play our defense and react and be aggressive. And if you start thinking about, like here's the thing, right? You come in and you say, all right, they got a coordinator change. And you've spent part of your bye week and all Monday watching tape. And now you can guess, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? We just got to go play, and then we got to react, and we got to adjust right up from the first series to the last. We got to coach. But to be honest with you, every game's like that. How can I explain this to you? Make this simple. Like when we go into a game and we work on all these plays in practice. I mean, we might script 12 3rd down plays today in practice. We might get one of those routes. You know, they're game planning too. They're changing things up too. They're creative too. we got to adjust, and we got to be able to, the cumulative reps over time of everything we see, that's got to be really important. And if they get us on something, we got to fix it so it doesn't happen again. So can I speculate that they're going to do that? They're going to get their own lineman back probably, so that will probably help them. I mean, the quarterback's a good player. I mean, he's made a lot of plays too. You turn on some of the games like the Jacksonville game, and I thought he did a really good job. I mean, he's tough. He's taking shots. He's elusive. He can throw the ball down the field. I've seen times when he's come across the board and hit the backside read, and he's got good wide receivers, and they have a really good running back, and they're 4-1 at home. So, I mean, this is a team a couple weeks ago, everybody was talking about winning the division or being right in the thick of things in the division. So this isn't one anybody's going to take lightly at all.
How good of a job did the Patriots do covering the Bears receivers in this last game?
They did a nice job. I thought they did a really good job. I thought the key for them was they generated a lot of pressure, though, too. You know, it was rushing coverage, but I did think they did a really nice job in the game. I thought they played really good defense. Did you watch it? Did you think the same thing?
I think he had a person to throw to in a lot of plays.
Yeah. Well, they did a nice job. Credit to them, because those are good receivers.
Downard was in here a couple weeks ago telling us about how on the bus from the Jaguar Stadium to the airport, X was on a different bus and texting him for Jerry Goff tape. Can you maybe just give us a peek into what X is like behind the scenes? We see everything he does on the field. Is he always like that? What has he just been like behind closed doors on a day-to-day basis?
Really competitive. You know, just his study habits, right? So last night, I get a text from him, probably 6:30. It says, "Hey, are you done with the third down plan yet? Can you send it to me?" Right? And you send it to him. And then this morning, he comes in before anybody else, and he wants to sit down to me, and he wants me to go over it with him, right? Then he goes over it with RD and the DBs, and he does it in the walkthrough, and he does it on the field because he wants to get it right away. And he gets angry when he doesn't, because that's what the great ones do. And he holds himself to such a high standard where he doesn't want to make mistakes, and it shows. I mean, that's what you're really good players. Every play matters, just like it does to us. So I think that's the biggest kind of look in I can give you to what he is like. He's always wanting to be on top of his stuff, the details, the execution, the competitor. I mean, that's who he is, and that's why he's a really good player.
Is that rare, that wanting to get onto him? Like, everyone talks about the 24-hour rule after a win or a loss, and he's like a 24-minute rule. That's like, is that a rare thing, or is that just something like all the great ones have, that mentality of this game's over, let's get on to the next one right away?
That's what the great ones' mentality is. I mean, the great ones I've been around, I mean, it's just keep going, keep getting better. So it doesn't surprise me that he texts that to Downard at all, because he wants to be the best, and that's what those guys do.
Jeff, going back to Caleb Williams for a second, you know, when Dom Capers was here, he had some magical formula for making it really hard on rookie quarterbacks or first-time starters. I know you don't know what they're going to do, but when you're going into a game against a guy who's a first-year starter, is there an internal battle of, okay, let's not try and spend too much time trying to trick him or give him all these different looks he's not used to? Like, how do you kind of go through the process of figuring out how that should factor into your game plan?
Well, you kind of watch the tape. You know, not all rookies are the same, right? You can say you're just going to go be aggressive and blitz a rookie the whole game, and sometimes that doesn't work. You watch the tape, you see what he's been good against, you see what they've had success with, and then you get a feel for it when you go in the game. I can't give you away my secrets for how we're going to attack them this week, but it's an internal battle sometimes. There's a lot of internal battles, and sometimes you just got to keep your cool and see how it unfolds. But we'll have a good plan for them, and we'll adjust accordingly to how everything unfolds.
Is there much influence from McVay's offense? He was with him for a little bit, but then he went to Carolina, you know, and was with Reich. So do you expect that, or is that part of their offense a little bit?
Yeah, for sure, because Shane was too, you know, and they've been together. So I think that's a really good point. I think you'll see an influence from them, and just like around the league. I mean, you can turn on the tape and see the influence all over the place. It's just like Matt. You can see his influence as you turn on the tape. But yeah, I mean, I guess everybody's questions are the same questions that we all have right now. What's it going to look like? And if you figure it out, or if you hear anything, give me a call and let me know. I mean, but we're going to line up and play. We'll adjust, and our guys will be ready. They've gotten after it these last 2 days. I mean, they really have. It was physical yesterday. Today was really competitive. You know, our guys know how good they can be, and they see we're getting better, and they're excited about that. There's a different energy. There's a different energy that they came back with from the bye week, which is very encouraging, and it's a lot of fun to coach these guys.
Real quick,
Sure.
Matt told us yesterday that, you know, you guys are going more good on good and instead of doing cards. Have you been part of that before with other teams late in the year? Is that common, or, because you're talking about energy, I'm guessing that's a factor in why it's.
Yeah, it's a huge factor. It's your best on their best, and that's how you get better. But I give Matt credit for that, because not everybody's willing to do that. There's a lot of guys late in the season that go the other way, and they start walking through and dialing it back. But I think what you look at is, how can we get better in the second half and improve on what we did? And I'm grateful that he has that mindset and wants to do that, because if you want to, you know how you get better at football? You practice football against good players. So today it's our defense, and I think we had 10 third down reps, our ones versus our ones. So we get 10 good reps against Jordan Love and our wide receivers and our O-line. I mean, that's arguably one of the best, most explosive offenses in the NFL. So we just got those 10 reps today, rather than doing a walkthrough or some three-quarter speed. So our guys got better today. And there was some shots both ways, right? You're not going to win every single one, but that's what you want. And I hope we continue to do that. That's a really good point.